G'day. The Australian Grand Prix could be chaos, even more chaotic than last year's rain-affected race that saw 3 drivers out before the end of lap 1. We have new regulations, new power units, and given the dramas at pre-season testing, this race is shaping up to be one of the most eagerly awaited season openers in years. Round 1 of 24 kicks off in Melbourne, Australia, the first week of March, and there is huge anticipation around how the brand new cars will go in race weekend mode. Drivers have real concerns about battery and energy deployment around the Albert Park Circle. Will there be much overtaking race day? Will it even be possible to overtake? At this stage, we're just not sure. Of course, Aston Martin are on the back foot already. They ran fewer than 1/4 of the laps than Mercedes did in the 9 days of pre-season testing. They are so far behind the other 10 teams, it's not funny. Of course, it'll be intriguing to see if they can last the full 58 laps on race day. Some say they might even struggle to qualify given their car was around 3 seconds a lap slower than the fastest car in testing. And what of the 107% rule? They'd have to be 6 seconds slower than the fastest car for that rule to be enforced, and that's unlikely. And even if they were that slow, it's not mandatory that they would not be able to start. The start of the race, I think, will be gripping. A new blue light will be used to signal to drivers to get their engine revs up. They were revving their engines for about 10 seconds in Bahrain prior to them releasing for their practice race starts. And the reason for that is they need to get their engine revs up before the turbo kicks in. There's a big chance that one or more drivers get it wrong, which could wreak havoc at the start in Melbourne. Will Ferrari be as quick off the line as they were in testing? If so, they could start 3rd or 4th on the grid and be in front by the first turn. And if overtaking is as difficult as many pundits predict, that might be enough to secure a win. For a start, no team has run 58 laps in race conditions yet. I'd expect a breakdown or 2 or 3 or even 4 during the race. And of course, that would bring out, most likely, a red flag. Red flag bunches up the field, and bang, we get another intriguing scenario to watch. This year, cars carrying just 75 litres of fuel. Last year, it was 90. And the key to a strong showing this year will be the management of the battery power. You simply can't drive as fast as you want to drive in an F1 car. Your tyres wouldn't last, and you will run out of power. And that's why I think having access to audio commentary wherever you are, whether you're watching at the track or on television, will be vital to understand who's in a good position to attack or defend. Now, there have been many complaints from both drivers and fans about this new era of racing. But come race day in Melbourne, all that will be forgotten because all 22 drivers will be racing under the same rules and conditions, and one of them will win. There are so many unknowns. I can't wait. The drivers themselves will arrive a little earlier than they would normally roll up to a race, probably a day or 2 earlier, given the long flights from Europe and the 10-hour time difference. They need an extra day or 2 to settle in. I expect big crowds at the airport Monday and Tuesday to welcome them, although just be mindful that they'll probably be coming out of VIP exits. The most popular driver? Well, I think this year it'll be Oscar Piastri. Hometown hero, grew up in Melbourne, and will you catch him coming out of Crown Towers? Probably not. That's where most of the drivers have stayed in past years. But Oscar, being so big this year, I think you'll find he'll be staying privately in a rental house. You won't see him after hours. He'll certainly have security with him. Interesting in Bahrain, the 2 McLaren drivers who normally have a security guard each only had one between them, and Lewis didn't have any security guards. That won't be the case in Melbourne. Many drivers will have their wives and girlfriends with them. They love Melbourne. It's a lovely buzz, safe place, and plenty of shopping. At the track, things kick off, probably Wednesday afternoon for the drivers because they have on-track action on a Thursday. There's not really an opportunity to walk the track. So for those drivers who do walk the track, that will be a Wednesday option, and I gather in the afternoon. But Thursday is media day, but if you're hoping to catch a glimpse of a driver, your best bet would probably be here at the entry to the track on Canterbury Road or on the Melbourne Walk if you have a ticket. That is the very best place of probably any track to see your favourite driver up close. You'll need to get there early to get a position up the front and hang around till the end of the day because a lot of the drivers have more time as they leave the track and will gladly stop for you there. On media day, all drivers will be rolling up to their portrait shoot. This is in the paddock in front of a throng of photographers and cameramen, and those shoots are spread out over the entire day. We have a new rookie this year, Arvid Lindblad. Last year we had a number of them. He will certainly be hoping to do better in his first race than Isack Hadjar did last year in his first. You'll remember he didn't even get around 2 corners in the formation lap coming off at the exit of Turn 1. But getting back to Arvid, you can bet your bottom dollar his heart will be racing when those lights go out on Sunday afternoon. Getting back to Isack Hadjar, all eyes will be on him this race weekend to see if he's any better than Max's previous 6 teammates. He and all the drivers will be on the track a couple of hours before the race start on Sunday for the start of season annual group shot. It was last year's season start shot and the season end shot, and as with most years, the group of drivers who start the season rarely end the season. So which of these drivers do you think won't be there at the end of the year? Thoughts in the comments, please. This year we have 2 more cars on the grid, and while it probably won't make much of a difference in Melbourne, given the track's, just over 5 kilometres long, it could be a factor on the much shorter 3.3 kilometre track in Monaco. Let's talk Melbourne weather now. It is notorious. 4 seasons in a day, and while the forecast looks pleasant enough now for the weekend, it's no guarantee that we won't get rain to spice things up. Look, I'm expecting a huge crowd at this race. The record attendance at a Formula One race is 520,000. Last year, this race attracted 480,000, but they've added a new grandstand. There's a couple of new overpass bridges and a new pontoon across the lake. So with that extra capacity, maybe, I don't think it'll get to 520, but maybe it can get to 500,000, which is around the same number as Silverstone. I think they have all of the ingredients to turn the Melbourne Grand Prix into the biggest one of the year, but we'll have to wait until July to know that. In fact, probably till the end of the year, because Cota in Austin is also a buyer. Is that even a word? A player for biggest race of the year as well. The race itself starts at 3 p.m. Melbourne time. That is 4 a.m. in London, but ideal for those in LA, 8 p.m, and not too bad for New York. And for the first time, US viewers will be watching the race on Apple TV. Now, I believe they'll be taking Sky's feed and commentators. Later, perhaps, maybe at the US races, we'll be seeing some of their crew, some American crew, perhaps reporting from pit lane. I'll be very keen to hear your thoughts post-race, Americans, as to whether you thought their coverage was any better or worse than what you had last year on ESPN. Oh, and some exciting news too for those in the US who like going to the movies and like F1. Because in 2026, Apple TV will be beaming 5 races into, I think, 50 or 100 IMAX theatres. Those races, Miami, Monaco, Monza, Silverstone and Austin. On the TV side of things, I expect huge audiences around the world, and perhaps Cadillac's entry to the sport will cause a bump in the viewer numbers in the US. Certainly Valtteri and Checo have huge followings, and this race will be as close to a home race for Valtteri, given his passion for Australia. In particular, McLaren Vale in South Australia. That's where he and Tiffany have just bought the Vineyard Retreat. And after this video, why don't you click on the link in the description below to watch my interview with Valtteri done at his retreat last month. This is also nearly a home race for Liam Lawson. Yes, he's a New Zealander, but that's 3 or so hours by plane from Melbourne. He'll have a huge following there. It's also my shortest flight of the year at 3 hours and 15 minutes. Way shorter than my longest. That's 33 hours for my journey from Perth to Montreal later this year. Now, as at today, the 26th of February, there are still tickets available for general admission on the Friday in Melbourne. And they're only 90 Aussie dollars. That's about 68 US. But buyers beware, because F1 Today put out a scam alert. Obviously, people have been stung buying their tickets from non-genuine outlets. Post-race, I expect to see a number of drivers staying on in Melbourne for at least a day or two. Most prefer to kick back and enjoy the Aussie vibe, and then arrive at the last minute into China for round 2. And where will drivers be staying in Melbourne? Well, I would, if I were you, keep an eye on their Instagram pages, because often they'll post pictures showing their view from their hotel rooms, and it's not hard to work out where many of them stay. But maybe this year, with greater interest in the sport and fans becoming more excited and demanding, they could move to quieter 5-star hotels or even private rentals. This race will also be the first time we see the drivers following the release of Drive to Survive. That comes out on Friday, February 27. And typically it exposes some new storylines that perhaps have remained in the dark since being shot last year. So those might well pop up when drivers are being interviewed at the track. There's no doubt that Melbourne has been incredibly lucky with the series of events leading up to this race. It will guarantee them huge exposure, and F1 stands to rope in many new followers. And my gosh, if Kim Kardashian happens to make a surprise appearance with Lewis at the track, that would be a huge boon for the sport. And remember, I produce a mini coffee table photo book after every F1 race. And you'll find this one available on the Monday at the shop at kimillman.com. I trust all you Aussies get out to the track and enjoy what will be one of Australia's great sporting events this year. In closing, closing, head over here to take a look at a whole lot of extra social media content and get my merchandise and books up the top there at kimelman.com. Thanks for watching and stay passionate. Mate.